He didn't know that one conversation, just a few quiet sentences spoken in a dim corner of a bus stop, would rip his excuses apart. He didn't know it would silence years of complaints he thought were harmless, until he finally saw what they were costing him. Let me take you into a story many people never realize they're living. His name was Rayyan, 28, tired in a way that had nothing to do with sleep. The kind of tired that comes from carrying disappointments you never name out loud. Every morning felt like déjà vu. The alarm he snoozed 3 times, the job he didn't hate but also didn't care for, the same chai stall he visited because it made him feel like his routine wasn't falling apart. On most days, he told himself he was doing fine. Not great, not terrible, just fine. But fine had become the soft blanket he wrapped around all the things he didn't want to confront. His stagnant goals, his broken momentum, his unfinished plans. And like most people who feel stuck, he complained. Not loudly, not dramatically. Just the small, quiet complaints that slide out of your mouth before you even notice. Life is so unfair. Nothing works out for me. I guess I'm just not lucky. He said them casually, as if they weren't shaping him. One evening, after a long day at work, he missed his usual bus. The air was humid, and the streetlights flickered like they were undecided about staying alive. He leaned against a metal pole, scrolling mindlessly on his phone, mentally listing everything that had gone wrong that day. That's when he noticed an older man sitting on the bench nearby. A thin figure, maybe in his 60s, holding a small paper bag. His clothes weren't torn, but they were worn enough to belong to someone who lived simply. Rayyan hadn't intended to pay attention, but something about the man's calm posture pulled him in. The man sat there quietly, as if waiting wasn't a burden, as if the world wasn't rushing, as if time didn't own him. A few minutes later, the man turned to him with a tired smile. "Long day?" he asked. Rayyan nodded, half distracted, half annoyed. "Yeah, nothing really goes right these days." The man let out a soft breath, not a sigh, more like someone gathering their words carefully. "Do you mind if I tell you something?" Rayyan shrugged. "Sure." The man tapped the paper bag in his hands. "My daughter packed this for me. She's 24, works 2 jobs, still finds time to make me dinner." He paused. She wasn't supposed to walk. Doctors said she'd always be dependent, but she fought for every step she takes. Rayyan didn't know what to say, so he said nothing. The man continued. "You know what she told me when she handed me this? She said, 'Baba, if all I can do is try, that's enough.'" The words weren't poetic, they weren't dramatic, but something about the raw, simple truth in them hit Rayyan harder than he expected. The man's voice softened, almost becoming a whisper. "I see people complain all the time, about work, about dreams, about life being unfair." He looked at Rayyan with steady eyes. "But most of the time, they're not trapped. They're just scared of trying." Rayyan felt something uncomfortable shift inside him, like someone had placed a mirror in front of his face when he wasn't ready. The bus finally arrived, its headlights slicing through the dim street. Before stepping aboard, the man turned back to him one last time. Life doesn't change because we want it to. It changes when we decide complaints are too expensive to keep. Then he boarded the bus and disappeared into the night. Rayyan stood there for a moment, feeling like the world had suddenly gone quiet. No noise, no excuses, just a strange clarity he hadn't felt in years. The walk home felt different. The street he passed every day, the small bakery, the closed tailor shop, the stray cat that always sat near the curb, suddenly felt real, like he had been sleepwalking until now. He unlocked his apartment door, sat on the edge of his bed, and stared at his own hands. Hands that were capable, hands that hadn't been used fully, hands that had been too busy complaining to build anything meaningful. He realized something he had avoided for years. He wasn't tired of life. He was tired of his habits, tired of the version of himself that always waited for motivation, waited for perfect timing, waited for someone else to push him. And somehow, a stranger at a bus stop had peeled all of that away in minutes. The next morning was the first morning in a long time that felt intentional. He woke up a little earlier, sat quietly with himself, wrote down 3 things he wanted to do, not big goals, just small steps. He didn't need inspiration. He didn't need a dramatic plan. He just needed to stop feeding the complaints that were quietly eating his potential. The surprising thing: when he stopped complaining, his mind stopped drowning in negativity. When he stopped blaming, he stopped feeling powerless. And when he stopped waiting for motivation, he actually started moving. Slowly, he became someone different, someone lighter, more awake, more grounded in reality. Not perfect, just present, just trying. And suddenly, that was enough to change everything. One conversation, one quiet moment where someone else's truth shakes your own, can become the starting point of a new life. And that night at the bus stop became Rayyan's. In the end, he learned that complaining doesn't protect you. It only delays the life waiting for you to begin.